Welcome to Parigi.
Okay, så letter den så ikke, og du letter bare på fingrene.
1, 2 and 3.
Merci. Startet. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Well, after a nice dinner, onto the auctions.
€110,000, 120 at the back. I took the standing bidder at 120. I'm taking the standing bidder.
Her er en glad mand. Her er en glad mand. Men for satan.
After following the bidding from the Stelvio guys, we are looking at the cars that were actually sold in the auction. They bought this Porsche and a white GT Veloce Alfa Romeo Giulia. The next morning we got up and stopped only for important things.
Jeg ved ikke, om den er familiar eller det er fransk.
The exhibition is typical. It's like those we see in Italy and in Germany. And the first day was not so busy. And just sitting down, getting a coffee, you can't help but being a little curious and interested in the beautiful cars. Some of the cars were exhibitions from clubs or different events you could participate in. And especially the clubs showed some nice cars, like this Giulietta TI. Special attention was shown to Formula One, it seems, this year. Maybe it's because the French invented Grand Prix racing, but this exhibition was especially interesting, showing Formula One race cars from the last 50 years, from all the different countries participating in the championship. And you could try it for fake real. Otherwise, an exhibition like this is for different companies to show off their skills and their products. Some of the stands were quite amusing. And some of them were quite impressive, like these red machines from Italy. How about a GTA or some nice Zagato cars, Fulvia and Junior. The RM auction we experienced earlier wasn't the only one. Here we have the viewing area for Art Curiel, who also had an auction the next day. And of course, it being 70 years since the DS was introduced in France, very spectacularly, these cars were exhibited as well in big numbers. And here they have a 250. LM also. Chassis number 6053. Apparently also an original car. A guy has sourced 11 engines from McLaren. They are Porsche Tag turbos, and they're building them into 911 bodies. Crazy. It's much easier for me to understand the Porsche 904 with a 4-cylinder Foreman engine. Gaufre. Chocolat. They have everything from the most modern and delicious Chimera Lancia inspired stuff to the most delicious Italian stuff. Like I mentioned, a lot of French things around, but somehow the real jewels are from Italy. Let's have a look at what we can find here. From the Type 125, Ferrari developed the 166. It's a 2-liter car, V12. I think this is a 166. It was a highly successful race car, and it was converted into a Formula 2 car because the engine size limit was 2 liters back then. But what is this? It's my favorite, the Maserati AC GCS Monofaro with a single headlight. It's a competition to the 166 from Ferrari. The A is for Alfieri, the larger brother who died. The 6 is for number of cylinders. The G is for Giza, it's a cast iron block. And CS is for Corsa Sport. It's actually a street sports car, and it was later upgraded to Formula 2, just as the Ferrari. What a machine! I've always loved this. This is my favorite. Look how impossibly low it is. What's that? My little eye spies something ending with Porsche 917.
Den er ikke billig, den der.
And here is the car from before, the Porsche 908. This is a Langhek. It was actually also quite successful after the 917, when all the racers went back to 3 liters. You know, with the Alfas and the Ferraris and the Matra. Wherever I show up, there's always too many 300 SLs. How many did these guys build? This is much better. The Alfa Romeo 6C 1750. And here we have the Ricci Ferrari 1953 Carrera Panamericana. And finally turning up, some of the many Lancias exhibited. I think that interest for Lancia is on a big rise all over the world. There were so many Flaminia Zagatos and Aurelias, and they were all in good condition. You will see later that there were quite a number of old Lancias as well. Such wonderful machines, real Torino quality. I do admire the Mercedes-Benz company and the engineering, but these big machines, no, they're not my cup of tea. This, however, is much more interesting. It's an Alfa Romeo RL SS, I suppose. Maybe a replica, maybe an old car restored by Jim Stokes Works in England. They built engine copies for all the owners of Alfa Romeo engines. Isn't that just fantastic. If you don't know them, you might think that, they're one of those companies that build replicas like Porsanque in Argentina. They were also here actually. No, JSW actually take care of the original cars better than the Alfa Romeo works in Milano does. All the important race cars are serviced at Jim Stokes. But they also built new cars like this 6C 3500, just like the one Fangio drove in the 1953 Mille, remember? And this little delicious thing is an Amilcar. It's not English, it's French, built by a guy called Émile Accard. This is from 1926 with a little delicious engine, double overhead cams and a supercharger. Very fine packaging. And race position lights, 1, 2, 3. Yes, this is an LMP car from Ligier for long distance racing. And here, this humongously big sculpture is the logo in an enlarged model from the Voisin car company. I always say that the French, they make beautiful cars, interesting cars, new kinds of cars, but the engines, they're not very good. But here's an example. This is Facel Vega trying to make a little car, and it was supposed to save the company, but in the end it was what destroyed it. This engine was too complicated for the French, I suppose. And the car was a financial disaster, ending Facel Vega. Nice car though.
Paola is only limited area. Yeah. If you go outside Paola,
it's the same.
not Paola,
it's the
it's
same.
Lancia.
Yeah.
Could be the same.
C'est pareil, it's same. Mais c'est la région Côte du Rhône. It's region. It's not appellation.
I was actually on the first north.
You take your bicycle?
We were actually trying.
The pre-war BMW 328 series has a lot of exciting stories from, for instance, Giuseppe Busso. But the big, British, annoying Bentley lorries, I don't know. I like yellow cars, for instance. This one once drove in Copenhagen, I remember. Yellow cars, to me, is more like... Yes, here's one for you, sir. The Roof CTR Yellowbird. And what have we here? It's a Fiat Otto, a nice little 2-liter sports car from the 1950s. I don't know what came to the Fiat group. They wanted to make a sports car like everybody else. for the 2-liter class, just like Ferrari and Maserati and everybody else. Well, this one is something. They didn't make many of them. It's a V8 from the name Autovu, and they are all quite deliciously clothed from all the different Italian carrozzeria. What a treat. That was from the Gooding Company. This is Max Girardo, one of two superheroes from the car world. The other one is, of course, Simon Kidston, who's broken out from the bigger companies and started for themselves. How about that Ferrari 333 SP, or this 375 Plus? Or 250 short wheelbase. Or, well, you pick your choice. There's something about these short wheelbases. Are they the most perfect touring car ever? Touring car turned racer. Oh, and Abarth. Always interesting. Beautiful cars, fantastic engines, and the race history. I'll have to come back to this tomorrow, because this day is over now and we have to go have some dinner in a very special and interesting place, deep in a basement, with lots of meat. Bonsoir.
Den er jævlig. Det er koteletter bare på polen. Skal du huske at spise grønt til det?
Nej, intet grønt.